Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Notebook Mysteries, Parisian Intrigue, Book 6 by Kimberly Mullins. And this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Prologue, Paris Jail, 1889. You just had to get us involved, Jeremy muttered from under his hat, not stirring off the bench where he was reclining. Emma turned toward him and leaned back against the jail cell bars. Me? I wasn't the one who threw the first punch. Calm down, called Dora's voice from the adjacent cell. Calm down? You were the one who punched the police officer, Emma said, straightening. That's how I heard it, Tim said from the hallway outside of the cells. Dora rushed toward him. She pressed against the bars and held out her hand. Can you get us out of here? He took it and said, Not me, but I brought someone who can help. A man in a black suit, black tie, and white shirt walked up. Cole, Emma called. Jeremy lifted the hat off his face, showing a black eye. He sat up and moved it to a jaunty angle on his head. Hey, Pops, here to spring us? That remains to be seen. There's some confusion about the events you were involved in, Cole said drolly. What could be confusing? Emma asked. I found a dead body in a trunk. The husband slapped me, then the whole room joined in. Frowning, she looked at Jeremy in search of his support. He shrugged and said wryly, Yeah, anyone would have known to check the trunk for a body. Cole laughed. Most people come to Paris for shopping and sightseeing. Well, not us, said Emma firmly. Chapter 1, 4 weeks earlier in Chicago. Emma walked into the dining room where the family was enjoying a late Sunday lunch. Tim, Dora, Emma, Jake, and Jeremy sat around the table with the children. They had gone to church that morning and were enjoying a lazy afternoon. Delivery, she said, waving an envelope in the air. What is it, Emma? A telegram? Jeremy asked, setting down his fork. No, an invitation, she responded, not looking up from it. To a party? Dora asked curiously as she continued to cut up 3-year-old Lottie's food. No, Emma said, glancing up suddenly. It's an invitation to the Paris Exposition. Paris, everyone said together. Someone invited you to Paris? Dora asked. She felt envious. Her sister was always doing exciting things. Not just me, all of us, Emma said and gestured to everyone at the table. Everyone was silent as they digested the information. Finally, Jeremy spoke up. Can I see that? Yes, she said as she handed him the invitation. Who sent it? Tim asked. It says it's from the Art Curators Society. Have you heard of them? Jeremy asked Emma. No, I can't say I have. It mentions that reservations are in place for us at the hotel and that the tickets for the train and steamer are prearranged. The name of the steamer was La Bretagne. What a coincidence, she thought. She had been to Paris previously on the La Bretagne. When are we expected to go? Dora asked. She was thinking about the kids, the boarding houses, and all that needed to be done to keep things running smoothly. Jeremy handed the invitation to her without commenting. Dora read the note quickly. But this says tomorrow, she exclaimed. How can we get organized to leave by then? Tim was already thinking ahead. We have the help here for the boarding houses and our other businesses, but it's the kids I worry about. I think we can do it, Emma said in a firm voice. We just need to get organized. The first thing I'd like to do is confirm the tickets are authentic. Paris, she thought. This time it will be with Jeremy. Agreed, Jeremy said. We won't be able to firm up the hotel, but we should be able to confirm the train and steamship tickets. I can go to the train station and confirm the tickets if you want to handle the steamship, Tim said to Jeremy. I think I can handle that, Jeremy responded. What about the hotels? Shouldn't we make sure we have somewhere to stay? Dora asked worriedly. Papa and Abby were in Paris, and they had heard from them that the area had millions of tourists and the hotels were overwhelmed. Emma reviewed the letter for the name of the hotel. The Grand Hotel Terminus. It had been constructed specifically for the event. I know this hotel, she said, but with this short notice, we won't be able to confirm our rooms. Tim said, let's meet back here this evening and discuss our plans for moving forward. Everyone agreed, and Tim and Jeremy started out of the room. Dora halted them. Hold on. You need to stay and help clear the table first. The two men turned back to her. Tim smiled sheepishly. Of course. He went back to the table to retrieve the empty plates. Jeremy followed his lead and took an empty platter from the table. With everyone pitching in, the dishes were carried into the kitchen quickly. Amy and Ethel, the housekeeper and helper, had the day off, so everyone had a job to do. scraping, washing, drying, and putting away. After the tasks were complete, they moved back into the dining room. Jeremy and Tim got ready to leave. Emma hung back and talked to Dora. She teased, "Won't Papa and Abby be surprised to see us?" Papa and Abby had traveled to Paris a few weeks prior at the behest of Gustave Eiffel. The two men were good friends, and Eiffel had wanted Papa there for a final walkthrough of the tower that was to be the centerpiece of the Paris Exposition. The celebration was in place to commemorate not only technological advances, but also 100 years since the revolution that had changed France's ruling class from a monarchy to a democracy. Dora smiled as she hid her concern at being away from the kids. "What's the hubbub?" they heard from behind them. Savannah and Ethan walked into the dining room, their appearance slightly disheveled. Savannah Woods worked backstage at a local theater and was between shows at the moment. Emma used her expertise in makeup and costuming when she needed to be in disguise. Ethan Worthington worked with Emma at James Pennington's law office. "Savannah, Ethan, just getting in or going out?" Emma asked with a smile. Ethan colored in embarrassment. "I just dropped by last night to see how Savannah was doing and lost all sense of time." "Sure you did," Emma teased. She was pleased that the duo was dating. There had been hints that big plans were in the future. "So what's going on?" Savannah asked again. "Where's everyone rushing off to?" "Oh, we've been invited to the Paris Exposition. We're finalizing the details," said Emma. "Sounds exciting. When are you leaving?" asked Savannah. "Tomorrow," answered Tim from the doorway where he and Jeremy stood in their coats. "Tomorrow? Isn't that kind of fast?" asked Ethan. "It is," Emma agreed. "But I think we can get ready in time. Ethan, I plan to drop by the office and leave a note with Mr. Pennington." "That should be okay," Ethan replied. "We're a little slow right now." "Savannah," Dora spoke up, "Lottie is staying here and Amy is going to look after her. I hate to ask, but could you check in with her from time to time?" "I'd love to," Savannah said. "Are you going to be okay staying by yourself?" Dora asked. The boarding house was a little empty at the moment. The last family had moved on a few days before. Savannah slated a glance at Ethan. "Oh, I have a feeling I won't be that lonely." Ethan turned redder as everyone else laughed. Jeremy walked over to Emma's chair. "Want to go to the telegraph office with me?" "Yes," she said and held out her hand to him. He took it, pulling her up. They left for the dining room and entered the foyer. Jeremy got her coat out of the closet, and as he helped her put it on, he asked, "Telegraph office first to send a note to the steamship?" Emma nodded and pinned down her hat as she called, "Tim, are you coming with us?" "Yes," he called back from the dining room. He leaned in to give Dora a quick kiss goodbye. "Just a moment." She moved to the sideboard and pulled out some paper. She wrote quickly, folded it up, and said, "Don't forget to give this note to Amy on your way," she said as she handed it to him. Before taking it, he moved his fingers to the worry lines showing on her forehead. "This trip will be good for us," he murmured. "Will it?" she asked, leaning into him. "Yes," he said firmly. "I have to go. They're waiting for me." She pulled back and slid the note into his pocket. Patting it, she said, "Don't forget." "I won't," he promised, kissing her again before jogging into the foyer to meet Jeremy and Emma. "Trolley?" Tim asked as he put on his muffler and buttoned up his coat. "Yes," Jeremy said, and Emma nodded. As they exited the house, they found the cool breeze had picked up. The group held their hats as they descended the stairs and turned toward the trolley. Dora crossed to the window and watched them leave, her frown back in place. Her preference was to stay right where she was. The occasional trip to New York is fine, but this trip, she thought. Paris sounded wonderful, but this trip will be so much longer than I want to be away. At that moment, she heard a scream and turned toward it. It was a happy scream from Lottie. The girl had found her doll. She ran over to her mom and said, "Up!" Dora picked her up and swung her around, listening to her squeal. 5 weeks away. Tim wants this, and so do I, she admitted to herself. I want to see Paris with him. I'll go. She hugged Lottie tightly. I'll make sure you're safe while we're gone, she promised.